So this is how you replace the gas fireplace valves. Currently, this is the new valve setup. I'll show you the old valve setup. There's a dirty old fireplace over here I have to redo. And that is fed by this line right here that comes out. It's an old line. It's a flared copper fitting, flared line into a half-inch male adapter from the 3/8 line. There's a adapter you get at Home Depot right there. Then tie into CCST, which is corrugated stainless steel tubing, and you can get these at Home Depot too. They're I think 10 inches. And I brought it over, and the problem was this was the existing valve that came just like this, straight down into that copper line like that. It's a little paddle valve, you know, and it just freewheels. And the problem with this is I can't get to it when I drywall up this whole wall. So today we insulated it, and then tonight went back through and took the existing and put a new valve in. One of the additions I added, which is this waste pipe section. This is to catch like, you know, just debris and stuff that is in the pipe, so it doesn't go into the system. Usually have these on furnaces and I think any appliance, you know, no plumber, but I'm pretty sure this is required in most places, or at least it's a smart idea. So instead of just doing a 90 here, we took a T, put a little 4-inch nipple and a cap. And all this is this Teflon gas. It's yellow to make sure it's you know, not like regular Teflon tape, like for plumbing, because I guess the gas has a chemical in it that could eat through that Teflon. So you got to get the yellow stuff, or whatever's the color for the manufacturer that you have that's rated for gas. So CCST comes down to this valve right here, elbow, these come with it, elbow, nipple, another, now this is a street, they're all streets. This is the way it worked out for me. You could do it whatever way you want. Clamps screwed in, the valve, I'm not going to bottom out, and I'm not going to be too far away. I can't engage this escussion plate. So that was the thing that seemed to take the longest, is to make sure I'm not going to have this valve, you know, put that valve too far in, too far out. So just using this and a piece of scrap drywall to make sure I'm, you know, not too far away. And then the key, and then this key. Obviously rotates whatever. Come into another street elbow on street 90, and then another street 90, and then back into the adapter set that comes with this CCST. I think each one of these is like $10, but they're worth their weight in gold basically, because you can see this copper line kind of runs behind the wall. I had to run it in and around. It's a little too long for this application, so you have to kind of put a little bend in it. But doing it with black pipe is a nightmare. I mean, I don't have a threader, so I'd have to buy all these nipples and make sure it works. And I would have to buy probably 30 different pieces, so I know what time I got here, what I needed, you know, because you always have to go back to the store and things. So this is how I did it. Waste valve, tied back in, and you have to check with your local plumbing, or what is it called? You know, your codes, to make sure if copper is a violation or not. Soft copper to run into your. So this is existing. This has been here for that gas line. The only way to replace that is to really, you know, jackhammer out all that, drill a big ass hole through there, like a big with a rotary hammer and run a new CCST line all the way out. But you know, it hasn't blown up in 60 years, and it shows no degradation. There's no holes or whatever, so I'm keeping it. And then I just had to move everything. So then you come back and soap test everything. Make sure that there is no leaks, and then I just tested it with, I don't know if you can hear the when I turn it back on. Let's see. I don't know if the phone picks that up, but the gas was working, so it's all working, no leaks. And just like with any other plumbing fittings, just trying to, when you dry fit everything first, and dry fit them in order, and then come back and mark your lines, you know, if you need them to be. In this case, some of these not really necessary, long as this sort of pretty much just points out. This CCST is just worth it. You know, if you can get this, they come in pre-cut lengths, so you don't have to flare these. You don't have to have a tool or anything. They come in, I think, you know, the standard at Home Depot, you know, like 10, 12, 20, 30 inches. So, but for this little fireplace, I didn't need much. So there it is. Hope it helps somebody. Oh yeah, and I raised it off the floor too. That's the other thing. You can mount it to the side, or you can mount it to the floor. I didn't realize till I got ready to finish was when the drywall goes on and the baseboard goes on, I would have had to cut the baseboard, you know, make a big ass notch. So I just took another scrap piece of 2x4 and elevated it, and then I actually put, I don't know if you can see this, put a shim. Probably not a good way to show that. A shim underneath the valve. It's all wet because of the soap, but that way this little guy is raised up off the ground. Because if this was sitting directly on the 2x4, it'd be very difficult to screw this on. You know, especially if these are tied down pretty tight. So I just put a little shim underneath there, raise the whole valve up, but I didn't put the shim up far enough where it could impede on the escutcheon plate. So just one more thing, if you're going to mount this directly to something, is to probably raise up that valve with a shim, you know, some plywood or something, and just get it off the ground, so it's not, you're not going to impede when you put this thing on. It's not going to jam up. That's it.